in your head. You've put your courage to the test, laid all your doubts to rest.
Hi everyone, and welcome from your intuition queen to a new episode, or actually to the first episode of 2022. Happy New Year. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything is fine. I hope you had a good celebration. I am in a beach town here in Italy, and that's why the background is different. And although I had in mind to walk around the beach and get a tan maybe, the weather is not that great. But I am so happy to be looking out at the window and see this the sea, and I'm going out when it's not raining, and it's just so beautiful to be in a different place and soak up the energy of Mother Nature. And I love the sea so much, and that just makes me very, very happy. So what I want to talk to you about today, it's a little bit of kind of closing up what happened last year and tidying it up to this new year and new energy, because I'm a believer that even if the year ends and the new one starts, energies don't change that quickly. Things for us don't change that quickly. We need, at least for me, I need a couple of months to really let go of what has happened over the prior year, and to really get into what I want to achieve in the new year. Because there, we all have things that we haven't maybe finished, or there are situations that don't go away just because the year started, right? And so I want to share a couple of things with you in relation to my personal experience, but I know this is not just what I went through in terms of energy I'm talking about. Last year has been pretty intense for a lot of us. A lot of us have been asked to really dive deep into their emotions, into their fears especially. I remember that at the beginning of last year, my word of the year was take off. And the color that I wanted, that I chose, was yellow. So take off for me meant much more in my business than in anything else. And yellow for me meant the sun, because I was moving back to Italy, meant joy and that very warm energy. But what happened was the actual energy of the yellow, which is learning to give power to yourself, to take back your power, learning to stand on your own 2 feet, learning to feel trust for yourself, and learning to really, really release the fears. Because the yellow is the color, the third chakra, and that's also the color related to fears. It's the color that tell us we're not good enough if we are not in balance. And clearly I was not balanced. A lot happened for me this year on a personal level, and the move for me really brought up to the surface all of the things that I needed to look at. And it was time for me to really look at them in the eyes and deal with them. So last year for me was a year of healing. I did a lot of inner child healing and a lot of energy healing, which is what I do with my clients. But last year was something needed for me. And as a generator, I struggled a little bit at the beginning, because in my mind, I was like, I'm moving back to Italy. As soon as I move back to Italy, I'm going to do this and that. And the reality of things was that I needed to pause in order to figure out what was going on with me in my life and how I could move forward. And I know this is something that has happened to a lot of people, from my clients to fellow coaches and healers, but also people that I've been talking to in the last few months. And the thing is that I think we have all been asked to look at things that are important for us, but also look at things deeper within us. For a lot of people, some things happen on the exterior, and they triggered something emotionally. Um, Maybe you've been like me. I made the decision, so I didn't have to respond to something that happened to me. But I know that a lot of other people have had situations where they had to respond to something they were not expecting to happen, or even if they were expecting it to happen, they didn't see it coming that way. And for a lot of us, that meant feeling stuck, feeling overwhelmed, feeling lost, and not really knowing how to move forward, or feeling resistant because you had a plan in mind to move forward in a certain way, and what happened required you to change plans and do things differently. And sometimes that can be something that it's a little bit tricky, because maybe you have planned already a lot of things and you have this energy in mind that doesn't happen because things go differently. If this is something you resonate with, it doesn't have to be for the whole year. Maybe you had a couple of very tough months that taught you something. Maybe you met someone that taught you something about yourself, and I want you to go back and think about all of the things that happened last year and understand what was the lesson that you needed to learn. Because whenever there are things that happen to us that are not necessarily pleasant, or they might make us feel all over the place, or they can take us off track, there's always a reason for it. And for a lot of us, we needed to pause. I know that for me, the message that I received from the universe was pause, let go, and do inner work. Why? Because all of us are born in 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 families and an environment that at some point will trigger something within us. And I know I've talked about this before, but for me was really working on the fear that I had of my mom, and that she could sabotage my life anytime. And living abroad, living away from her, made me forget about that fear until I moved back, and that fear was really, really real. And so I did a lot of work on that, which basically was doing work on trusting myself more, and doing work on trusting my intuition more, on trusting the universe, on really looking at this fear and understand what that fear meant for me and what was blocking me from it. And I know that a lot of you have gone through the same situation. Maybe something happened to us, and all of a sudden you started thinking, oh, okay, so who am I now? What am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this situation? And if this has been your story, this has been your year, we are now in a new year. And this new year, it's about relationship. It's about building foundations. It's about kind of resetting everything that has happened in the last couple of years, let's say it, where we have all been asked to pause in a way or another, um, and really start to put the foundation for a new you, a new life. And that doesn't mean that you have to change everything in your life, but I'm pretty sure that something happened last year that made you want to change something. It could be in your relationship area, could be your career area, any other area of your life. And if this is what's going on with you, before you do that, I want you to really look at what happened last year and what was the biggest lesson that you learned. As I said to you earlier, for me, it was about trusting myself. And I know I'm someone that teaches trust and trusting your intuition. But there's always a deeper level you can go to, and you can only go as deep as you can at that point in time, but you can always go deeper than that, right? But if there are stages of work, and for me, I got to a point where I needed to go even deeper than I thought I was. And that was a great revelation, because I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about what I can achieve. I learned so much about my energies, and I learned so much about staying in my feminine energies, using my colors, and using my generator energy, which tells me that I am not supposed to push. I am supposed to enjoy what I do, enjoy who I'm around, and things will come to me. And that has been a great lesson for me, because whenever I didn't do that, I could see what was happening. And sometimes we just don't realize. So the universe will keep pushing to you things that you need to learn. And so for you, think about the biggest challenges you had to face last year, and what was the lesson or lessons that you had to learn, that you feel like you have actually managed to learn, and that now you can move forward. And if you think of that, what are 3 things that you can be grateful for? I am grateful for what happened, for all the struggles that I had to go through, because they allow me to learn so much more about myself, and they allow me to feel way more stronger than I felt before. And that's something that you can only achieve when you go through hard moments, when instead of trying to escape, you face your fears. And I know this is not something that it's very easy to do, but it's something that it's necessary for us to do in order to move forward. And I know most of you listening to my podcast and watching on YouTube are the kind of people that really like to move forward. And sometimes it's just very complicated when we are feeling so much, and we just don't know what to do. So look back at that, look at the lesson, and what are the 3 things that you're most grateful for? Because I want you to kind of have a closure with what happened last year, so then you can build on the new year. So this week I mentioned what is the color of the year for me this year, and I have chosen orange. And orange is the color of creativity, pleasure, joy, sexual energy, creations, connections. And this is because I've worked so much on myself last year that I feel like, oh yeah, it's now time to get out of here and have some fun. But also because I've realized, working doing human design readings as well, that it's so powerful learning to stay in your personal energy. And that's my energy. Which sounds like, oh yeah, but if you have fun, then it means you're not going to do anything. No, when you have fun and you start thinking about how you can move forward, what is the solution to that problem, that's when your intuition kicks in. And we have phases. I am grateful for my phase of last year, because it was a stepping stone to get me to switch energy, to get me to realize so much more about myself, and to change perspective on a lot of things that I was hanging on to. It allowed me to open my heart more. And this would never happen if the year that just passed wasn't difficult like it was last year, wasn't challenging. But maybe for you, that last year was amazing. And so again, this is just so that you can have a little bit of closure. And if your year was the greatest year ever, or it was just such a great year, then still you learn some lessons. Then still you can be grateful for something that happened, and you can take that energy and bring it on to you, bring it forward to this new year, so you can continue to ride on this wave of good energy for you. But for me, everything is connected. It can never be like, okay, so I forget about this year, now I'm going to start the new year. No, because if you haven't tied up the loose ends, what you haven't finished to do that would belong to the previous year will come back to you this year. So that's why I want you to kind of reflect a little bit, if you haven't done it already, on things that you're grateful for, the lessons that you learned from last year, and what is your takeaway. And as we move through this new year, what are the things that you want to achieve? What is the energy that you want to bring in your life? What are the things that you no longer want to receive, behave, feel? And what are the things that you actually want to receive and feel and achieve? So for me, it's important to have a word and a color. And as I said to you, my color is orange, because I really want to focus on joy this year. I've done so much work, too much work last year, and I feel like I kind of disconnected a little bit from my cycle. Yes, I've moved countries, so that naturally made me let go of a lot of people, disconnect from others. But I feel it's time for me to reconnect online and offline to as many people as possible, and to have fun, to collaborate, to see what happens, to have new friendships, maybe to find love, who knows. But I feel this is the energy I want to be in, and I want to build new foundations for my business and my personal life, because last year has been so transformational for me that I feel like things have to change a little. So think about yourself and think about, what is the color that you want your year to be? What color is it? And if you want, you can let me know. I'll be so happy to hear, and I'll be so happy to tell you, what does that color mean? What's the energy of that color, and maybe why you need that color. A friend of mine called me up a few weeks ago, and her year was pretty crazy. She lost her mom, and she moved country, and everything was new, and she had to deal with some family stuff. And she was saying to me, I'm in this new place, and I was wondering, I've been feeling the need to have a lot of pink and a lot of green in my house. And I was wondering if there is any correlation to the energy that I feel I'm in and what has been happening this year. And I said to her, yes, of course, because green and pink are the colors related to love. Green is the color related to personal self-love, unconditional love. And pink is the color related to love for things, love, general love, love around you. And so when you lose someone, like a parent, and there is such a major change in your life, you also move country, and everything is so brand new, you do feel the need to give love to yourself, because the foundation of what were the point of references for you to get love from are no longer there. And I know, because when I lost my dad, I realized that I only wanted to be surrounded by people that truly love me, where I could truly feel the love for me. And I started to get rid of all the people that I knew, that I used to call friends, but weren't really friends anymore. And I think this is normal. So think about what is going on with you. Maybe there is a color that you feel very much attracted to. Maybe it's a color that you never liked. Maybe it's a color that you don't realize, but you have so many things around and you keep buying that color. There is a reason for it. Orange is a color that I have in my chart, and I think that it's because it's in the position of the energy that is going to help me to get to my purpose. Although I know my purpose, but I feel I am in that transitional period where I am learning so much more things about myself. The experiences that I'm having are allowing me to help you in understanding more about yourself, understanding more about your situation. And I'm starting to have more ideas on where I want to go and what I want to do. And so I feel this is a perfect energy for me to be in, and I'm aligned to my color chart. But I'd be curious to know, what color do you feel you want your hair to be? Just imagine, close your eyes and think about 2022, and how do you feel? How do you want to feel? And what color pops up? This is it for today. I didn't want to actually have a long podcast episode. I didn't want to give too much information. I wanted to have a very light episode to start the new year. The energies are really, really powerful at the moment. We just had a new moon in Capricorn. I hope you made some resolutions, or you started to think about what is it that you want to plan and what kind of foundations you want to have this year. We're having some really powerful astrological movements. I'm not an astrologer, but I love to read about it. And I know this year there is a lot of to deal with relationships. And I feel that. So I'm really curious to know, what is it that, what color is your ear? What color is 2022 for you? And I'll be very happy to hear from you. I am back on YouTube, so if you guys want to watch the previous episodes, I am uploading new episodes as I go, so there should be all in by now. You can find me on theintuitionqueen.com. You can find all of my offers, and you can find me on my Facebook group, Discover Your True Colors, or as usual, the Intuition Queen on Instagram. I will resume the Instagram live really soon. My voice is still not that great, so I'm waiting a little bit just so that I can feel perfectly in health, and my cold is gone and my throat is fine. And I have some new episodes, some new guests coming in. They are so amazing. You will love them. And yeah, this is all for me. I wish you such an amazing 2022. Do let me know what is your color. You can send me a message on Instagram and I will share that in my stories. Yeah, so this is all for me. Happy New Year. I'll talk to you very soon.
Your
Ciao.
future's at the door.